Let me give you a little clue and hint that might help you in this context. In verse 15, it says that the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. 우리는 그냥 work and, maintain, right? 그걸로만 해석했지만 there are some scholars who are very strongly insisting that this can be translated, this phrase can be translated into to worship and obey God. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to worship and obey. And I'm not just making this up. This is there. Some scholars are really strong that this is the right translation. And they know all the rules of grammar. They understand how things ought to be. They understand the etymology of words and so forth. And they're insisting upon this. So their scholars are kind of divided. Is it like we're there just to work, and we're just to take care of this? It's more of a functional thing? Or is it more like a place of worship and obedience? If that were true, if it is all about worshiping God and obeying God, then in order for Adam and Eve, who will come forth, in order for them to truly enjoy God's good land, would depend upon them keeping God at the center and them at the periphery, obeying God's each command. In Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 16, see, I set before you today life and prosperity, death and destruction. For I command you today to love the Lord your God, to walk in obedience to him, and to keep his commands, decrees, and laws. Then you will live and increase, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land you are entering to possess. But if your heart turns away, and you are not obedient, and if you are drawn away to bow down to other gods and worship them, I declare to you this day that you will certainly be destroyed. You will not live long in the land you are crossing the Jordan to enter and possess. And when we read this, it says, oh, that kind of statement is after the law. The Israelites received the law from Mount Sinai. And of course, Moses can talk like this, but is this relevant to the very beginning? In the garden. Having to do with that tree. In the middle of the garden. And God basically saying, don't go there. Because once you go there, you're setting yourself independent of me, and you're going to center everything onto yourself. And there you're going to decide what is right, what is wrong, based upon your own knowledge and cleverness, which the people of the world are doing today. You know, the philosophy of relativism? Everything is relativistic. However I want to interpret things today. Based upon my own standard, my own measure, my own ideas, having nothing to do with God. And they're saying, I'm going to make my own rules. And they set themselves up at the center and oust God to the periphery. And God says, that's the way of death and destruction. Death just accompanies that. God doesn't have to actually go out of the way to punish them. The punishment is inherent in the way of disobedience. Disobedience will lead to death. Because only obedience can lead to life. See, only obedience opens the door for us to eat off of the tree of life. And that's none other than Jesus Christ. But when we disobey God by choosing the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and saying that I'm going to be my own man about it, I'll decide what is good, I'll decide what is evil, and I set up my own relativistic principles of things, then I'm going to be lost. Now, I do agree that we all have certain measure of wisdom and discernment of what is good and what is wrong, right? We all have conscience, we can kind of know. But even if I knew it crystal clear, what is right and what is wrong, for me to operate with that notion without God, that's the most dangerous thing we can fall into. And that's why in Christian walk, we always have to be like little children. Not being so self-assertive, like, I know. I got it all figured out now. I have the commandments. I got the theology. I got the, understanding of what is true versus evil. I have spiritual discernment. I have this power now. And saying, now I think I can do it without God. I don't have to go to Him. I don't have to pray anymore. Charismatics. I've seen charismatics. Not praying, not relying on God, simply operating with the inherent gifts. I've seen that. And how in due time they would fall. Their prophecy would go off. Their knowledge, their wisdom would go off track. I've seen that. And I have to admit, there are times then, without relying upon prayer, I resorted to my own fleshly ways too. Thinking that God gave me these abilities. I'm just going to utilize that to the max. But what's wrong with that picture? You leave God out of the picture. God is not the center of your focus. There's no way you and we can survive that. Yes, so I am kind of seeing this like a choreographic scene. Yes, I am. Like on the stage of life. I see there in the middle is this tree. And I go closer and closer to that center. Instead of staying in this vicinity and trusting God and obeying Him and just worshiping Him and centering on Him. But I go there to attain that. And I find myself at the center of the stage. And I have put God in the vicinity or the periphery of the stage. Then that would be my death.
Oh,
that would be my curse.
That makes sense.
Can you see that? Mm-hmm. The stage?
아니 just in life, people are going toward the center.
Yeah, I mean they're making themselves the center, and somehow they're losing the center of God. Mm-hmm. And once that happens, in anything that we do, the moment that happens is the death of us, and we might not see the effect of that for quite some time, but it will destroy us in the long run. And I'm just wondering whether that's what this story is about.
Interesting.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? Or let's have one comment from each one of you based upon this narrative.